Today I will be discussing our findings on nutritional and environmental outcomes of plant-based beverages versus cow's milk. We know that our food system is linked to human health and environmental sustainability challenges, with a major issue being the often higher environmental impacts such as GHG emissions associated with animal-sourced products. And this is even when considering regionally explicit differences in production practices as shown in the figure on the left. One solution to this is a shift towards more plant-based diets. However, when doing so, it is important to avoid burden shifting, which means optimizing one sustainability facet at the expense of another. One example of this would be substituting a product that might be more environmentally friendly but less nutrient dense. Alternatively, one could be introducing substitute products that might be low in GHG emissions but also high in water use. The aforementioned reasons are why we conducted this study on plant-based beverages compared to cow's milk. We looked at almond, cashew, coconut, hemp, oat, rice, soy, and spelt, and we compared this to cow's milk from different production systems, including grass-fed versus pasture-raised versus arable land-based. We measured the nutrient contents of these beverages in a lab setting, which allowed us to include nutrients not commonly found on a food label. So for instance, we also looked at fatty acids and amino acid concentrations. Lastly, we estimated environmental impacts for 9 categories from production to packaging. So as you can see on the left, we first calculated and ranked the nutrient density of these various beverages based on average needs for both females and males in Switzerland. And for this, we used 2 different nutrient metrics. The first is the FSI metric, and we developed this in this paper to rank substitute products within a food group based on a food's ability to address nutrient deficiencies in a certain national dietary pattern. The second metric is the NR protein substitution score. This was developed in a previous paper for protein-rich food alternatives, and it's based on nutrients commonly deficient in non-omnivore diets. This metric is more globally applicable as it's not specific to certain country populations. So for the FSI 20 metric, we see that cow's milk is the most nutrient dense, but with fortification, soy is comparable. Without fortification, soy is the most nutrient dense plant-based beverage. Almond, on average, is the next nutrient dense. However, oat drink can be comparable in many cases. Additionally, on average, we see that coconut is the least nutrient dense. Based on the NR protein substitution score, cow's milk still scores the highest. However, depending on fortification levels, oat, soy, and almond can be comparable to cow's milk or exceed it. On the right, we see environmental impacts measured against different functional units, the first of which is a volumetric basis, which we define as 1 serving size, or 200 milliliters. On average for this, we saw that cow's milk was the worst for many impacts, and that soy, oat, spelt, and hemp generally performed well. Additionally, we see that grass-fed and pasture-raised cows also do well when compared to arable land-based cows on average. Now, when looking at impacts measured against a nutrient-based functional unit, cow's milk does much better, for example, with deforestation and global warming potential, and this is because of its high nutrient density. Alternatively, almond, which had a moderate to high nutrient density, the nutrient density in this case was not able to compensate for its high water usage. And lastly, coconut does not do much better on a nutrient basis due to its lower nutrient density. So overall, key findings from this paper include that soy milk, when produced in certain regions, can be a strong alternative to cow's milk. However, this greatly depends on the geographic origin of the raw plant material. So for example, we did a sensitivity analysis comparing Brazilian and French soy production. In general, plant-based beverages are only nutritionally competitive with cow's milk if fortified, and fortification should be strategically targeted at crops with low environmental impacts when practical. On a nutritional and environmentally combined basis, cow's milk can be sustainable when compared to plant-based beverages. And lastly, the choice of cow production system. So for example, the feed composition can influence results.